Jamie Novak had never imagined that a simple message home would trigger an interstellar incident. Then again, being the first human teenager in the Galactic Exchange program meant nothing about his life was simple anymore. Entry 47 in the log of James Alexander Novak, Earth date approximately September something. I've lost track. Calendar conversion is still giving me headaches. Jamie spoke into his communication device while staring out the viewport of his dormitory. 3 moons hung in the purple sky of Thraxx, the jewel of the Cygnus arm, and home to the most prestigious academic institution in 7 star systems, the Galactic Academy. Mom, Dad, Aunt Elena, day 112 at the Academy. The gravitational adjustment sickness finally stopped, so that's good. Food's still terrible unless you have 4 stomachs. My temporal physics professor says I have promising cognitive patterns for a species that only recently discovered fire. I think that was a compliment. Jamie paused, considering whether he should mention what had happened in the quantum mechanics lab. He hadn't wanted to worry his family, but after 3 months of increasingly hostile jokes from the Thraxian delegation, today's incident had crossed a line. So, there's this group of Thraxian students. They're like, I don't know, 7 feet tall with these ridged foreheads that make them look perpetually angry. And today in Professor Z.K. Teal's class. Jamie's voice caught. He still felt the sting of humiliation as the memory replayed. They sabotaged my particle simulation. When I activated it, instead of showing atomic structure, it projected a hologram of primitive Earth apes throwing feces at each other, with my face superimposed on one of them. The whole class laughed. Well, not laughed exactly. Some species here express amusement by secreting mucus or changing colors. It was still humiliating. Jamie sighed, running a hand through his hair. Professor Zaytael made them apologize, but they didn't mean it. Their spokesman, Thraxx, whispered that humans are temporary participants in galactic society and that Earth only got admitted to the Confederation because the elder races felt sorry for us. He said we're just pets being tolerated until we inevitably destroy ourselves. Jamie looked down at his hands, embarrassed at the emotion welling up inside him. He was 16 years old, representing the entire human race. He should be tougher than this. I'm fine, really. The academic coordinator says this is normal interspecies adjustment stuff, but they were mean to me. Really mean, not like bullies back home who might steal your lunch money. These guys genuinely believe humans are inferior and shouldn't be here. He paused again, forcing a smile into his voice. Anyway, classes are good otherwise. I'm maintaining a GPA that translates to roughly an A- on Earth scales, I think. Tell Grandpa I saw an actual antimatter engine up close yesterday. It was awesome. Love you guys. Transmission ends. Jamie pressed the send button, launching his message toward Earth at faster than light speeds through the Confederation's communication network. Then he flopped back on his regulation dormitory bed, which had been specially adjusted for human physiology, and stared at the ceiling. He had no idea that his simple words "they were mean to me" were about to trigger a chain of events that would redefine humanity's place in the galactic community. Rear Admiral Elena Ortiz was enjoying her first coffee of the day when her neural implant pinged with a priority message. As head of Earth's diplomatic corps and liaison to the Galactic Confederation, she received hundreds of updates daily, but family communications always got flagged. "To play message from Jamie," she instructed. As she listened to her nephew's voice, her expression shifted from mild interest to concern, and finally settled on a particular look that her staff had learned to fear, the look that meant someone had messed with family. By the time Jamie's message reached "they were mean to me," Elena had already initiated an emergency conference with Earth's Defense Council. 30 minutes later, the 12 members of the council sat around a holographic table, faces grave as they reviewed the transmission. "Let me get this straight," said General Patel, his bushy eyebrows nearly touching in concentration. "Your nephew sent what amounts to some aliens were mean to me, and you've activated Defense Protocol Omega. Did you miss the part where a Thraxian representative told the first human in their academic institution that our species is just being tolerated until our inevitable self-destruction?" Elena countered, her voice dangerously calm. It sounds like typical teenage drama, offered Dr. Hoffman from Xenorelations. With all due respect, Doctor, Elena said, which everyone understood meant no respect whatsoever, this is a diplomatic incident. The Thraxian hegemony holds 3 seats on the Confederation's Supreme Council. If their people are openly disparaging humans as temporary participants in galactic society, we need to address it before this attitude spreads. The Secretary General cleared her throat. What exactly are you proposing, Admiral? Elena's smile would have made a shark reconsider its life choices. A diplomatic mission. Immediate. With appropriate escort. Define appropriate. The Secretary General asked warily. The EFS Righteous Indignation is currently on patrol near the Tau Ceti waypoint. Hey, my Bowen tours. It could reach the Thraxx system in under 2 weeks. Silence fell around the table. A Valkyrie-class destroyer as a diplomatic escort. General Patel finally asked, "Isn't that excessive?" Not at all. The Indignation was scheduled for a goodwill tour anyway. We're simply adjusting its itinerary. 2 hours later, Captain Marcus Jones received his new orders while the Righteous Indignation was docked at Tau Ceti Station. Jones hadn't earned the nickname Overreaction. For nothing he'd once ordered a full battle station's drill, because an unidentified piece of space debris turned out to be approaching from an suspicious angle. A rescue mission? He repeated, eyes gleaming as he scanned the orders. Ready for a human student facing alien aggression? Consider was already underway. Sir, his XO Commander Diane Wu interjected gently. The orders specifically categorized this as a diplomatic mission with potential extraction elements, not a rescue operation. You read between the lines, Wu. Jones gesticulated enthusiastically at the holographic display. Admiral Ortiz's nephew, her flesh and blood, is being tormented by 7-foot aliens with ridged foreheads who think humans are temporary participants in the galaxy. It's a call to action. The orders just say we should establish diplomatic presence and assess the situation, Wu persisted. Exactly. And look at paragraph 6, we're authorized to take all necessary measures to ensure the safety and dignity of Earth's representative. All necessary measures, Wu. As the Righteous Indignation disconnected from Tau Ceti Station, and its weapons systems underwent a routine check that just happened to result in all defensive and offensive capabilities being brought to full readiness. Meanwhile, Admiral Ortiz was leaving a message for her sister. Maria, it's Elena. Just wanted to let you know I got Jamie's latest update. Don't worry about that bullying situation he mentioned. I'm sending someone to check on him. It's all being handled very diplomatically. The EFS Righteous Indignation sliced through the fabric of space-time, its antimatter engines pushing the destroyer to speeds that would have seemed impossible to humans just 50 years earlier. The ship's corridors bustled with activity as Captain Jones had ordered all 320 crew members to prepare for what he was now openly calling Operation Protect Our Own. All right, people. Let's review the situation, Jones announced during the daily briefing in the ship's conference room. A holographic image of Jamie Novak rotated slowly above the table, a school photo showing a gangly teenager with an awkward smile. This is Jamie Novak, age 16, first human attendee at the Galactic Academy on Thraxx. According to our intelligence, he's been subjected to what the diplomatic corps is calling species-based harassment, but what I call alien bullying. Commander Wu suppressed a sigh. Sir, our orders are clear, Commander. We're to establish presence and ensure young Mr. Novak's dignity. But to do that effectively, we need to understand what we might be walking into. Lieutenant Commander Raj Patel, head of ship's security, leaned forward. What exactly do we know about these Thraxians, sir? Excellent question. Jones tapped his console, replacing Jamie's image with that of a tall, imposing alien with pronounced ridges across its skull and 4 eyes arranged in a diamond pattern. Thraxians. 7 feet tall on average, physically stronger than humans. Hierarchical society with dominance displays forming a key part of their social interactions. They're one of the founding species of the Confederation. So they're used to being top dog, offered Lieutenant Chen from Communications. Precisely. And now humans have appeared on the scene, newcomers who somehow developed FTL travel 10,000 years faster than the evolutionary timeline most species follow. Dr. Leah Montgomery, the ship's xenobiologist, cleared her throat. That's actually a misconception, Captain. We didn't develop faster than expected. We just took a different path. Most spacefaring species evolve more cautiously, with thousands of years of theoretical models before practical applications. Humans tend to experiment first and theorize later. Which is exactly why they're threatened by us, Jones declared, slapping the table for emphasis. We're unpredictable. And now they're taking it out on a teenager. Throughout the journey, the crew's theories about Jamie's situation grew increasingly dramatic. By day 5, the mess hall was buzzing with rumors that Jamie was being subjected to experimental procedures. By day 8, even the normally level-headed Commander Wu found herself wondering if the Galactic Academy might be a front for some kind of evaluation program to assess Earth's potential threat level. Meanwhile, in the ship's training room, a different kind of preparation was underway. No, cried Lieutenant Orlov, the ship's diplomatic attaché, as he watched Captain Jones practice the traditional Thraxian greeting. You're doing the hand gesture completely wrong. That's not greetings, respected one. What you just signed translates roughly to your offspring smell of decay. Jones tried again, his fingers contorting awkwardly. Better, Orlov sighed. But please remember, when meeting the Academy Chancellor, you must maintain eye contact with all 4 eyes simultaneously. That's physically impossible for humans, Wu pointed out. Then look between them at the bridge of their nose, ridge, whatever you call it. Just don't focus on the lower eyes, only that's how they look at prey. As the Righteous Indignation approached the Thraxx system, Captain Jones recorded his personal log. We're 12 hours from achieving orbit around Thraxx. All diplomatic protocols have been reviewed, though I have serious doubts about their effectiveness if we find young Novak in distress. The Thraxians need to understand that humanity protects its own. If one human child is threatened, they answer to all of us. End log. He closed the recording and turned to the viewport, watching as the stars streaked by. Hang in there, kid, he murmured. The cavalry's coming. The Righteous Indignation dropped out of FTL on the edge of the Thraxx system with all the subtlety of a rhinoceros crashing through a china shop. Its arrival immediately triggered sensor arrays across 3 planets, 4 moons and 17 orbital stations. Sir, reported Lieutenant Chen from communications. We're being hailed by Thraxx Orbital Control. Chibo. They're asking for identification and purpose. Put them on screen, Captain Jones ordered, straightening his uniform jacket. And make sure our transponder is broadcasting on all standard Confederation frequencies. I want them to know exactly who we are. The view screen flickered to life, revealing a green-skinned Thraxian controller whose multiple eye stalks undulated in what the crew's cultural briefing had described as extreme surprise. Unscheduled Earth vessel. The controller spoke in carefully modulated galactic standard. Your arrival was not registered with Confederation Travel Authority. Please state the nature of your visit. Captain Jones stepped forward, hands clasped behind his back in what he hoped projected calm authority rather than the bubbling anticipation he actually felt. This is Captain Marcus Jones of the Earth fleet ship Righteous Indignation. We are on a diplomatic mission regarding Earth's representative at your Galactic Academy. The controller's eye stalks writhed in confusion. We have received no notification of diplomatic delegation. The situation developed. Rapidly, Jones replied. We request immediate orbit clearance and landing permissions for a diplomatic shuttle. I must consult with. Perhaps, Jones interrupted smoothly, you could expedite that consultation? This is a matter of some urgency regarding human Confederation relations. As the controller disappeared from screen to confer with superiors, Commander Wu moved closer to Jones. Sir, I recommend we dial back the intimidation factor. Our appearance has clearly alarmed them. Good, Jones replied quietly. A little alarm ensures attention. 3 hours and 17 increasingly tense communications later, the Righteous Indignation achieved standard orbit around Thraxx. and Captain Jones led a small delegation consisting of himself, Commander Wu, Dr. Montgomery, Lieutenant Orloff, and 6 diplomatic security attaches who just happened to be wearing the latest in Earth's powered combat armor. The Thraxian reception committee, waiting in the spaceport's diplomatic lounge, included the Academy's Chancellor, a tall Medusan whose serpentine head tentacles were currently rigid with stress, and 3 Thraxian officials whose ridged foreheads seemed even more pronounced in person. Captain Jones, the Chancellor, began, voice modulated through a translation device. "We welcome you to Thraxx, though we confess some confusion regarding the urgency of your arrival." Jones stepped forward, attempting the 4-eyed eye contact Orloff had insisted upon. "Chancellor ZK, I appreciate your accommodation of our unscheduled visit. We are here regarding a matter of significant concern to Earth, specifically the treatment of our exchange student, Jamie Novak." The Chancellor's tentacles relaxed slightly. "Young Novak? I was under the impression he was adapting quite well to Academy life. His instructors speak highly of his academic performance." One of the Thraxians stepped forward. "If I may, Chancellor, I am Dean Thraxx of Interspecies Relations. We have received no formal complaints regarding the human student's treatment." "That's precisely why we're here," Jones replied, his smile not reaching his eyes. "Earth takes the welfare of its citizens very seriously, particularly when they are pioneers representing humanity in predominantly non-human environments." "Perhaps," Commander Wu interjected smoothly, "we could speak with Jamie directly, to assess his situation firsthand?" The Chancellor's tentacles writhed in what the Earth delegation hoped was agreement. "Of course. He is currently in quantum mechanics laboratory. I shall have him brought." "No need to disrupt his studies," Jones interrupted. "We're happy to go to him." 20 minutes later, Jamie Novak looked up from his particle simulator to find himself surrounded by Earth military personnel in a quantum mechanics lab that had suddenly gone dead silent. His classmates, 12 different species from across the Confederation, stared in shock at the human adults, particularly the 6 in powered armor stationed at the room's perimeter. "Uncle Marcus?" Jamie managed, recognizing his mother's cousin. Why are you? What's happening?" Captain Jones strode forward, placing both hands on Jamie's shoulders. "We received your message, son, about the incident. Earth takes the dignity of its representatives very seriously." Jamie's face went from confusion to dawning horror as comprehension set in. "Wait, you mean about the Thraxians being mean to me? That's why you're here? With soldiers?" From the doorway, Chancellor ZK's tentacles were now writhing in what Dr. Montgomery was pretty sure translated to extreme diplomatic distress. "Perhaps," the Chancellor suggested, "we should continue this discussion in my office." "Let me get this absolutely straight," Jamie said, his voice cracking with the particular strain that only mortified teenagers can achieve. "Aunt Elena received my message about some stupid bullying, and she sent a warship." The Chancellor's office had become extremely crowded. Jamie sat slumped in a chair, face buried in his hands. Captain Jones stood at parade rest beside him, projecting what he clearly thought was protective authority. Commander Wu was frantically messaging Earth for updated instructions, while the Chancellor and Dean Thraxx watched the proceedings with the fascinated horror of witnesses to a shuttle crash. "Not just any warship," Jones corrected, missing the point entirely. "The Righteous Indignation is a Valkyrie-class destroyer with enough firepower too." "Marcus," Wu hissed. "Not helping." "All I meant," Jones backpedaled, "is that Earth takes your situation seriously, Jamie." "My situation?" Jamie looked up, face flushed red. "You mean some jerks made a dumb hologram prank? And that happens every day here. Last week, the Pulvorian students turned a Zentarian's exoskeleton bright pink during molecular biology." Chancellor ZK's translation device made a sound that might have been a cough. "Indeed, interspecies social adjustment is a normal part of Academy life. We have protocols for managing these interactions. So you're aware that Thraxian students have been systematically harassing Earth's representative?" Jones pressed, unwilling to relent. "Captain," Dean Thraxx interjected, his four eyes blinking in sequence, what you call harassment, we would characterize as standard dominance testing. Thraxian culture relies on hierarchical establishment. The students were simply testing whether humans deserve respect. Jones finished. By publicly humiliating our student and suggesting our species is merely being tolerated until our inevitable self-destruction. The dean had the grace to look uncomfortable. When phrased that way, young sentients can be tactless, the Chancellor interrupted smoothly. I assure you, such attitudes do not reflect official Confederation policy toward Earth. Jamie groaned. This is exactly why I didn't want to make a big deal about it. Now everyone's going to think humans go crying to their military the second something goes wrong. Not crying, Jones corrected, strategically escalating to ensure appropriate response. The situation deteriorated further when news of the Earth vessel's arrival reached the Galactic Council. Within hours, emergency sessions had been called, and representatives from 17 species were demanding explanations for why an Earth warship had entered the Thraxx system without proper authorization. In the Academy's central courtyard, Jamie found himself at the center of a very uncomfortable spotlight as fellow students alternated between giving him wide berth and bombarding him with questions. Is it true humans deploy armadas when they're insulted? Asked a Zentarian student, its exoskeleton clicking excitedly. No, it's just a misunderstanding, Jamie insisted. My parental unit says humans are naturally aggressive and this proves it, commented a Pulvorian, hovering slightly above the ground. Jamie spotted Thraxx, the Thraxian student who had orchestrated the hologram prank, standing with his cohort across the courtyard. To Jamie's surprise, the alien wasn't looking smug or angry. Instead, he was watching Jamie with what appeared to be genuine curiosity. Meanwhile, in the Chancellor's office, the situation had escalated from diplomatic incident to potential interstellar crisis. The Thraxian ambassador is demanding an explanation for Earth's military presence, the Chancellor informed Captain Jones, as are the Pulvorian conglomerate and the Zentarian hive. They're calling an emergency session of the Confederation Security Council. Jones maintained his composure, though Commander Wu noticed his left eye beginning to twitch. Perhaps this presents an opportunity, he suggested, for Earth to address concerns about the treatment of humanity within the broader Confederation community. Captain, Wu murmured, showing him her communication device. Admiral Ortiz is requesting immediate contact. The expression on Elena Ortiz's face when she appeared on the secure communication channel made Captain Jones briefly consider whether space piracy might offer better career prospects. Thanks, Jones, the Admiral said with deadly calm. Would you care to explain why I'm receiving calls from every Confederation ambassador on Earth asking whether we've declared war on the Galactic Academy? The emergency session of the Galactic Council took place in the Academy's Grand Assembly Hall, a domed chamber designed to accommodate representatives of all Confederation species. Captain Jones found himself seated at a circular table alongside Chancellor Z.K. Var, the Thraxian ambassador Thraxx, and representatives from 12 other major species. Jamie, to his continued mortification, had been summoned as a witness. Let the record show, intoned the Medusan Council Chair, this emergency session has been convened to address concerns regarding Earth's unexpected military presence in the Thraxx system, apparently in response to alleged mistreatment of a human exchange student. Captain Jones straightened in his seat. Despite Admiral Ortiz's blistering reprimand, he remained convinced that a show of strength had been necessary. Earth needed to establish boundaries early in its relationship with the Confederation. The Earth delegation wishes to clarify, he began formally, that the EFS Righteous Indignation is on a diplomatic mission, not a military operation. A diplomatic mission requiring powered armor and weapon systems at full readiness? Asked the Thraxian ambassador skeptically. Standard protocol for uncertain situations. Jones replied smoothly. Just as it is standard Thraxian protocol to test new species through dominance displays, apparently. A murmur ran through the assembly. If I may, Jamie interrupted, his voice cracking slightly before he got it under control. This whole thing is a massive overreaction. I sent a personal message home mentioning some bullying, and somehow that turned into this. He gestured at the assembled dignitaries. The Thraxian ambassador's 4 eyes blinked in sequence. The human youth speaks truth. This response is indeed disproportionate to the incident. Disproportionate, perhaps. Commander Wu interjected, having been hastily coached by Admiral Ortiz via secure channel, but revealing of fundamental cultural differences we must address for successful integration. Humans place exceptional value on the welfare of our young, and perceived threats trigger protective responses that may seem excessive to species with different reproductive strategies. The council chair's tentacles undulated thoughtfully. An interesting perspective. Perhaps this incident, while regrettable, offers an opportunity for deeper cross-species understanding. As the diplomatic dance continued, Jamie found himself approached by Thraxx during a recess. "Your people deployed a war vessel because we insulted you," the Thraxian stated, no question in his tone. Jamie sighed. "It's complicated. My aunt is kind of overprotective." "Your aunt controls Earth ships?" "She's an admiral." Thraxx's upper eyes widened. "You are related to a military commander, and you did not assert this dominance marker in social interactions?" Jamie blinked. "That would be a really weird thing to do where I come from." "Fascinating. Humans conceal power rather than display it." Thraxx seemed genuinely intrigued, yet when provoked you respond with overwhelming force. "That's not what Jamie started." Then paused, considering. "Actually, yeah, that's pretty much what happened, isn't it?" By the time the council session concluded, an unexpected transformation had occurred. What began as an embarrassing diplomatic incident had somehow metamorphosed into a formal cultural exchange framework. The final resolution, drafted jointly by Commander Wu and the council chair, established new protocols for interspecies education that explicitly acknowledged the unique protective instincts of humans regarding their juvenile representatives, and the need for cultural orientation regarding species-specific dominance behaviors. More importantly, an unspoken message had been transmitted throughout the Confederation. Humans might be newcomers to the galactic community, but they responded to perceived threats with immediate, overwhelming force. 6 weeks later, Jamie recorded his monthly message home. "Hey everyone. Things have been different since the incident. The Thraxians actually invited me to join their study group, which apparently is a big honor. Thraxx says my pack's response demonstrated appropriate protective vigor or something like that." He paused, grinning slightly. "The really weird part is how all the other species are suddenly super nice to the 3 new human students who arrived last week. The Academy's hosting 12 humans now instead of just me. Everyone keeps asking them if they're related to anyone in Earth's military." Another pause. "Oh, and the Galactic Academy officially named Earth a protected mentor species for the Thraxx system's developing civilizations. Apparently our unique approach to conflict resolution makes us ideal guardians. Admiral Oristano asked me to join the diplomatic training program after graduation." Jamie leaned closer to the recording device. "So, thanks for sending a warship, because some kids were mean to me, I guess. But maybe next time just send a strongly worded letter?" He grinned. "Love you all. Tell Aunt Elena she's simultaneously the most embarrassing and most awesome aunt in the galaxy." Across the Academy grounds, alien students watched the humans with newfound respect tinged with healthy caution. The rumors had spread quickly. These seemingly unassuming bipeds would deploy battleships if you insulted their young. Nobody wanted to find out what would happen if you actually harmed one. In the Galactic Affairs Office of Earth's capital, Admiral Elena Ortiz reviewed the latest intelligence from the Confederation. Despite the initial diplomatic nightmare, the incident had positioned humanity remarkably well in the complex dance of interstellar politics. Sometimes apparent overreactions yielded unexpected dividends. She drafted a brief note to Captain Jones, who was now heading a permanent diplomatic mission to Thraxx Marcus. "Sometimes happy accidents make the best policy. The Council has approved expansion of the human presence at the Academy. Keep an eye on Jamie. And remember, no more destroyers without express authorization." As she sent the message, she couldn't help smiling. Humanity had stumbled into the galactic community like a bull in a china shop, and somehow emerged with everyone treating the bull with newfound respect. Sometimes, being unpredictable was humanity's greatest strength,